Okay, let's actually make something. For this project, making a utensil. I'm going to make a spoon because reasons. So you are welcome to start with a reference image or a couple of them. I'm going to start with a reference image. So I'm going to select canvas. I've already found an image of a spoon. Bring that up. And as per usual, or as per you bringing out a canvas, select a plane. I'm going to select the XY plane, smack in the middle. I'm not going to resize it just yet. Select OK. I'm going to recalibrate, or I'm going to calibrate the spoon based off of finding a utensil. And wait, how big does this need to be? Okay, that's about 190 meters. That is an enormous spoon. 190 millimeters. So remember how to calibrate a canvas. Expand canvases, right click on the canvas, not edit, but calibrate. Go to top view. I'm going to select 2 points on this canvas, top and bottom. And right now it is at 15 millimeters and so on and so forth. I want to make that 190. Select OK, F6 to resize. Now we got at least a reasonably sized spoon. Cool. All right. First thing, don't forget, save. All right. Example in class. Ooh. There we are. Just in case I crash the computer again, I at least saved. Okay. What we're going to do to create this is I'm going to use 2 different forms, and I'm going to bridge them together, and then we're going to thicken it up. So first, start the form space. I'm going to use a sphere to create the bowl and a set of planes to create the handle. So first, sphere. All right, working off of a standard plane. Go to top view, and I'm going to start right on the y-axis, the green line here, and just somewhere there. And then I'm going to make the sphere about as big as the bowl, somewhere like that. That looks good. I can add symmetry. Mirror built in. We'll do width symmetry. So you see the green line is across there. What was that? I don't know. Okay. So the green line is across there, and we're good. Select OK. All right. So I have a sphere. Congratulations. Now what I want to do is I only need half of this. So I'm going to use a selection box. I'm going to use the from the right box so it grabs everything that that box touches. So half of it. And just hit delete. Okay. Now I have basically just a surface of half of a sphere or a bowl, if you will. All right. From here, now I can start playing with my form edits. So go to form edit, or edit form rather. You have all your options. Now, I can play around with faces, all that. I'm going to select by edges because I really only have a couple of them because I didn't add any more. Double click there, and I can drag and pull it up. Same with down here. I'd have to use a point. Drag and pull that up. Oops. I need vertice. I need that one, all of them, and drag it up. Well, that does obviously some weird stuff unless I'm making a flying saucer. So let's Control Z both of those. And I want to add soft modifications. What that is I click that checkbox. Now I have some options I can play around with. You have your extent, which is how wide the effect of the softening effect goes and how it goes by distance, by face count, or by rectangular face count. So if you're doing something more rectangular, obviously it'll work that way. I'm going to leave by distance. Then your transitions can either be smooth, linear, or bulge. So if you're actually trying to intentionally make something, or not lumpy, but you're trying to make extrusions and stuff like that, you can use those. I'm just going to leave as a smooth transition. Now, like, okay, what does that mean right now? Because nothing's there. And we're not going to deal with the other ones right now. So, okay, I'm working on edges. So let me select this whole edge, or I can just select that one. Say what, actually, let me select a vertice. Now let me zoom in, and you see that my lines between those went from black to red and diffusing out to white. What that is showing is the extent by distance. So that is how intense and how far reaching the effect of the smoothing action happens. So as I drag it outwards, you can see, well, that's probably a bad example. Let me Control Z that. And we'll move that single point, oops. We'll move that single point outward, and I'll just show you what happens here. It's dragging all the way outward, but look at how it is moving through everything else. As opposed to if I disable the soft modification and I'm just selecting that vertex, dragging outward, it really drags it just as that vertex. Now you still have a bit of a warp line here because this is still functioning on fit point spline geometries. But if I reactivate, Control Z and reactivate that, now as I drag that out there, you see a lot more comes with it. It's attempting to smooth as I go. So with Control Z here, I can make a selection, and I'll select the bottom here because I want to bring that upwards. Your options down here are, you have the distance, which is how wide reaching the effect of that is. Let me just type in 20 millimeters. All right. Now look at how much the lines went from black or from red and white to black up here. That starts to diffuse, or from the center point, red, and quickly diffuses to white. Now you can see how much tighter the range of the effect is. Underneath my selection bar here now in my toolbox, I have a weight. I can slide it to a negative or positive. What that's going to do is, you see how the red and white change from red and white or largely white if I slide to negative, or if I go to positive to 1, it's all red. That means it's full effect to the full range of it. So now when I drag this upwards, you see all goes together. If I slide that down a bit, it loosens it up a lot more. It's much more soft. It's much more of like a bowl shape. Great. That's really what I would like to happen. I want it to smooth out a bit. All right. So again, play with these things. I'm just selecting by vertex. You can select by line. It really doesn't matter for what we're doing right here. Now, as I drag that whole thing up, you see how much softer and how much smoother the whole form is. Again, I'm making a dome here, and I need to turn this into a bowl, but we'll get to that. Oops. Now, this will become an issue under here. You see how my lines are doing some real weird crisscrossing? That is most certainly going to be a problem, and we'll address that in a minute. But okay, I've turned this into at least a more shallow bowl. All right. Now, obviously, I still need to warp this a lot more to actually get it to what I want. So let's open the edit form again. I didn't need to close it, but I did. Let's select by point here, and I'm just going to drag this forward. Now, again, I'm just dragging by that one point. Okay, that seems right, but if I orbit down, it's kind of getting weird under there. So let's Control Z, and what I'm finding is what I probably need is another line. This is too simple. That's what I was saying. You can always add faces in, or rather add division. So I'm going to do that. Go to Insert Edge, and I'm just going to select the whole top. So I double click that top. Now you can see I have another line appearing, that green line appearing right there. And it's at midway between that line and the next. And we'll move it up just a wee bit. That seems better. Okay. Now, let's see if it really caused a lot of problems. Ooh, yeah, it really did do some weird stuff. I don't know why it created that crease there, but okay, let's adjust for that. Move it down. Select all those. And let's drag down a little bit. Nope, I didn't get all of them. There we go. Nope, still doing some weirdness. Maybe instead what I need is to grab these control nodes, and let's drag those up. There we go. So I just dragged the control nodes, those little red dots floating out in space. I grabbed those instead. That smoothed it up a lot. Not great, but a lot. Let's try to do a wee bit more there. There we go. That looks a lot better. Still kind of a little lumpy. Realistically, I should have added those faces before I started collapsing things. So maybe instead what I should do is just Control Z all of that and get rid of that line anyway. Okay. So let's continue trying to reshape this. So edit form. Let's keep the soft modifications active, and we'll do by that vertex. But let's work from the side. I want to drag both of those now from one side to the next. And I want to just pull this all the way out. So I'm getting much more of, well, looks a bit more like a bedpan, but yeah, we're getting there. Kind of spoon. If I look from the top, like, oh, okay, I see the problem. It's a bit too narrow. So what I can do from there, let's grab some vertices and just drag them outward. Just widening this. And that's really what we're doing here. Just going to be playing around it first, experimenting with how to really reshape all of this the best way we can. I don't expect this to be exact. I just expect it to be you trying your best at this. And I'm just moving points around, seeing where it might work best to move some of this stuff. Try to work with multiple points, not just singular ones. And we'll go from there. All right. That looks okay. That's kind of bullish. It's not great, but it's close. So I'll select OK. All right. Yeah, we'll go with OK. Let's make the handle next. So I'm just going to go to a top view. To make the handle, I'm going to use instead a flat plane, because since I cut that sphere in half, when I zoom in, I am working with just a plane here. Basically, it's a hollow shape. Let me hide the canvas so you can see a little more clearly. And let me go to auto assign color, shift in. You can see there's really no thickness to this. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. This is think of like it's a flat sheet of paper folded up in a way. There's no thickness to it. It's just the surface that exists. That's it. It's kind of an awkward concept to wrap your head around if you're not familiar with. But all right. So with that, what I can make is a handle out of just a plane. Now, I have not clicked finish form. I have not exited out of this workspace. Basically, if I was to relate this to how we have been working, I have not finished sketch. I am still working on the sketch space. Only in this case, we're working with three-dimensional sketches. We're just kind of morphing things around. So I'm going to create a plane. Plane reacts very much in the standard drawing sense because it's literally a plane. It's a plane of plane of existence. Okay, we're not getting philosophical with modeling. We're just getting referential. It is a singular flat plane. In this case, we're going to select the XY plane, and that's what we're going to build it on. I'm going to keep it on the Y-axis. Looking in close, my spoon is not smack in the middle, but I am going to keep my drawing or my plane reference on the actual Y-axis. So right about there. And this works as a center point rectangle. All right. I don't need to make this all the way, nor do I need to make it as big as it needs to be. Right about there works. Now, remember what I said about splitting up faces. Don't add more than you need. In this case, yeah, we'll make a couple. Add that way, 3. Yeah, we'll make it 4. 4 faces, and then there's the divide. Add symmetry to this, a mirror symmetry, lengthwise. If I select that box, you can see the green line appears in the center. That's what I want. Okay. Now I have a basic plane that is 2 wide and 4 long. I got some stuff to play with. Go to edit form, and I want to edit this by lines. All right. Let's zoom in. First things first, I would like to stretch this. So if I select one, it'll grab both. So I'm going to bring this up. I don't have to bring it to the lip of the bowl. Leave it far enough away. All right. I can shrink and expand these sides by either selecting lines and using the scale tool to shrink the scale of that line. It's not as effective. So Control Z, go back to vertex selection, select that edge. Oops, and I selected scale, not arrow. Sometimes it's difficult to grab what you're actually looking for. Arrow, and just shrink it in. Keep grabbing the scale. I'm just going to move these close-ish. There we are. Now for the back here, how do I make a round out of a flat? Well, for one, I can just grab that point and drag just the point outward. I can play around with the scale of these, or I can move, maybe free transition those points. And you see, because it's mirrored, it's going to do the both on either side. I could maybe select that whole edge there and scale that up and down. That gets kind of close-ish, but not really. I could maybe rotate that. That gets a little bit better, but still kind of out of it. One other option I have, select OK, select that vertex itself, and hit delete. It rounds out the whole thing. Now it's going to automatically recalculate the whole thing because I just took out that corner, but it just fuses the two lines together into one. That's all that does. So cool. Now I can go back to edit form. Now I can play with that edge, drag it around, rotate it a bit, maybe scale it down, drag it around some more. I get a lot closer to what I actually want out of that. And that's how you can play with that stuff. Again, I can still go back with the vertices and warp that around, get that a little bit closer. Not bad. Now this is getting weird up here. I do want to shrink this down a bit. Let's move that vertex in a bit. Of course, be cautious because look what happened to this one over here. Made it really teeny. So let's grab that one and drag it back out. Oops, I accidentally grabbed the control point, not the actual vertex. There we go. Let's widen that back out to where it actually is supposed to be. Somewhere about to there. I keep grabbing the scale. If you were trying to avoid doing that, just go to your translation tools and just, instead of selecting all of them, just have it just as like one or the other or something. You won't keep accidentally grabbing stuff that you don't need to. All right, so it's close-ish. But what happens if we need to add some stuff? That's exactly what you can do. Select OK. Maybe what I need, because this is getting kind of difficult to control back here, let's add some edges. So I want to add another cross section right here. To do that, I'm going to select that bar, but I want to make sure I have both of them. So now it automatically adds a line there. Select OK. It's going to reshape it a little bit. That's OK. Now I have more stuff to work with. So you can always add points and all that such in, and you can delete them too. But adding more later makes it so that you can be much more controlled about what you actually want to manipulate. Adding a bunch at the front when you create the forms means you have a lot more parts to juggle. Just a better way of working. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is I do want to add a bridge to connect these, but let me go ahead and save here. And spoon and handle made. Because what I want to show you next is, instead of going straight to the bridge, as I said, I can already see because I know what I'm looking for. But if I zoom in close, you can see the bottom of the spoon bowl. That is not right. I'm not sure what I did, but it definitely crossed some sections here. So a way to check to see if you're on the right path is go to finish form and just finish form, see if it gives you any errors. You can always go back and reactivate it. Big time error. So edges and faces might be overlapping. Return. Yep. Look at all that red. So first thing to try, let's go to Utilities, Repair Body. Select there, press the auto repair, see what it does. Now it's going to change that back, or rather, I could have done that before too. It's going to change it to the simple display. And I can still see, yeah, there's some stuff crossing there, and that is not good. So let's select OK. Go to Utility View. Let's try to select the whole thing here. See, it's showing it instead of round, it's showing it in display mode. Okay. That is problematic. Okay. Well, how do you fix this? Well, issue. That's okay. I'm gonna try again, repair between those points. All right. Yeah. Not sure if that's fixable. So I'll try to repair. All right, let's change the tolerance. Maybe I'll see if what that does. We'll see. Yeah, that didn't do squat. Okay. Well, one of the ways I have found to fix this is what I just showed y'all a minute ago. Delete it and cap it. So I'm going to go to the side so I can get a better grab. I'm going to select all of the bottom. And you can see how what's happening here. I might be able to just grab just the individual faces, but I don't think so. I'm not sure what I did, so I'm just going to delete it. Now I have a bottomless spoon. Rather useless. But to fix that, go to Modify, Fill Hole, select that edge, and now you see when it collapsed back together, all the points are meeting in the center rather than like crossing all over the place. All right, so let's mess with the selections. Right now, I have both of these checkboxes selected. Weld vertices, yes, that means that all the points come together and actually link together. However, I do not want the maintain crease edges selected. Now, if I deselect that, they rounded back out a bit. Okay, good. Let's try a couple of the other options. I've collapse selected, fill star. Let's try that. Pretty. Or reduce star. Oh, that's just weird. So I think the collapse is going to be the best option there. Going to go with that. Select OK. All right. So now I can finish form. Yep, that worked. So you see what it did? It fused all of these together, redrew it a little bit. That's okay. I do still want to alter that a little bit because my spoon is rather flat. So let's go back in, edit feature, because that's where I need to work from anyway. And let me adjust that just a wee bit. Let's go back to edit form. I'm going to go with lines. If I select one, it'll be that way. But if I double click, it'll select all of those. Reactivate soft modifications. Yeah, that works. And I just want to drag this upwards a little bit. No, maybe not. All right, fine. What I actually want, I just want that to be a little bit more of a bowl shape. So maybe instead, I'll grab the vertex just there at the bottom. And let's drag that downward a little bit so I can at least get a bit of more bowl shape in my spoon. Grab those sides, drag it upwards a little bit. That's causing problems. Might just be a little bit stuck with this. And I'll grab the bottom once more and see what that does. Drag that one downward. Not bad. Again, still not great, but not bad. I'm just kind of tweaking this, see what it'll end up with. And now I've just kind of got like a lumpy spoon thing going. All right. Looks like I'm going to have to settle for that. Okay. Like I said, I could have added more feet or added more faces to this at the beginning, and that would have helped a lot. But since it was so simple, there can be drawbacks to working simply. So, all right, we'll hit OK. We'll call it good from there. All right. Now, we save that. Spoon prepared. Let's bridge these together. So go to Modify and Bridge. What this does is exactly what it sounds. It creates a bridge between two edges, between two faces, and links those together. So select side one, doesn't matter which. So I'm going to select from this side, and because it's mirrored, it'll grab both, but I can also grab both anyway. Select side two. Both of those, there we are. You have a selection box for preview. Click this checkbox, but it will display it in the utility mode and display in more reduced measurement display mode. So you have now, it's going to create this by a whole bunch of faces. What did I say? Reduce faces. Let's draw that back down to 2. A little bit smoother. Let's try 1. A little smoother still. Okay. And again, if I click to maintain, or if I selected maintain creased edges, it's going to make a sharp edge. If I don't, it'll smooth it out automatically. Select OK, see what it looks like. All right, that's not bad. It basically creates a flat loft, if you want to think of it in those terms. But what I don't want is it to be so wide. So I'm going to Control Z, back out of that. So what I want is the face over here, or the edges here work fine. Over here on the spoon bowl, it's just too wide. So what I'm going to do, insert edge. I'm going to select both of those lines so it gets, whoops, no. Oh, I guess I'm just selecting the one then, because it splits off from there. All right. But I want this to be on both sides. So set a single, select both. And I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty close to where my canvas edge goes. All right. You have simple, exact if you really want, but in this case, simple is good because we're trying to keep things simple. Select OK. Now, it might reshape some things a little bit. That's all right. We can always manipulate it later. Ooh, what happened to the bottom of the bowl there? Yeah, that'll be okay. All right. So go back to modify, bridge. Now, double click that edge. And I want to, select both of those. Now you see how it kept the line much more narrow. Great. Select OK. Now we have a much more narrow bridge drawn. Okay. And I can still go back and edit this. Edit form, vertices, grab that one, drag it over a little bit, a little closer. This one, let's use a free transform, kind of drag those both a little closer. Oh, that one maybe. See what that does. It might get weirded out. Same. Ultimately you can reshape this just forever and always, but that'll work. Okay. Bowl definitely got a little weird. Let's change that a bit, bring that vertex back a bit. I don't know what all that's going to do. Close-ish. That's probably fine. Okay. Again, it's not perfect, but we're learning right here. Last step is going to be to add some dimension to this. And we'll probably also make that hand a little bit rounded. So go to thicken. This is just extrude in all directions, or at least, rather, instead of extrude, let's say it's more offset in all directions to on one side. Select OK, and I'm just selecting the whole T-spline body because it's made of T-splines. You can add this. You can use the slider, but again, as recalculations can bog down your computer, I'm going to do this numerically. So I'm going to type in 1.5. So it's 1.5 millimeters thick. You see the display box, just geometric display box appears around this. That gives you a rough preview before it actually creates the whole thing. You have a couple of options here. Thicken type, sharp, it's going to keep those edges sharp. Select soft, and that's going to make them soft. No edge, it just creates a disconnected offset and no edge at all. So let's ignore that one for now. I'm going to use soft. And direction, you have a couple, normal and axis. Let's leave it as normal. Select OK. All right. And this is a little bit difficult to see with my view options up. So let me change my display style to just shaded. Well, now you can't discern anything. Visible edges. There we go. So kind of a wonky bowl. Spoon has some dimension to it. All right. Let's tweak this a little bit further. It is a painfully flat spoon. So edit form, or better yet, I can Control Z, go back to when it's flat, so there's less to deal with. Control Z, or edit form. Let's make some dimension to this. So I'm just going to grab some series of vertices and just move them up and down, just so I have a little bit more of a less painful to use looking spoon here. Looks like I forgot to grab one. that one. Got to be careful you grab all the things. So it's not always best to work from just the side. Sometimes it's better to work a little bit up. Grab those. There we go. And that'll work. And tell you what, we'll take the last one and bring it down a little bit. Or better yet, let's give it a little kick up there. There we go. Make it fancy. Okay. Now go back to thicken, or rather I'll save and spoon curved. All right. Now go back to thicken. Select the whole thing. It keeps my 1.5 soft, normal, good. And let me hide that canvas. Now I have a slightly more curvified spoon that looks not too shabby. I can continue to manipulate this. You can tweak this to your heart's content. Edit form. Let's go with faces. I'm going to select all of these on the sides here. Sure. And I'm going to just drag this upwards a little bit. So what that's doing is pulling one set of faces up and leaving the other ones down. You can keep going and make this a very heavy-handed spoon. Sure, why not? And if you wanted, heck, you can add a little, you could add a thumbprint into this here or something. Now, I'll show you something here that I've run into. I can modify and I can extrude upwards, but what I did here for selection, I only selected the face. If I press and hold Alt and drag up to extrude that face, it splits the face. And I give it a spoon butt. But Control Z, and make sure you also select the line dividing those two. Now, when I press and hold Control and drag up to extrude, oh, I did it again. I must have missed one. Oh, weird. It is still splitting. That's very odd. Okay, normally it should connect all those two together. But anyway, in between two faces, otherwise it'll split them like that. But for now, I guess we'll just do that a little bit. Okay, you get the idea. All right, and that is my basic spoon. Finished form, make sure there's no errors. Not too shabby. It's a little thin, so pretty beefy on one end and not so much on the other. So let's save there. Spoon finished. Okay, cool. But that's not the end of the assignment. We need to modify this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this off into a couple of components. What I mean by that is I'm going to select this. New component from bodies. Oops. Yep. And there we go. So what I did, body's still there, but I just created another one. Oh, no, it didn't split it off. Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. What I can do, copy and paste. That pasted it onto the new bodies. There we go. Cool. That's what I wanted. So let's say Spork. And I'll make one more component. This one will say strainer. All right, there's that one. Selecting the original, but I have the new one, the new component active. So when I copy and paste, it creates it inside of there. Very convenient. All right. So I'm going to hide the original. I can spell it. Original spoon. All right, let's hide that one. So now I have either the Spork or my strainer. Now, a couple of things I want to do with this. The strainer is currently active. Hide that. Select that body. Just going to move it. So let's just drag this to the right a bit or left, whatever. -60, sure. Okay. So now when I reactivate the other one, you see that the other component is going to be to one side. So I'm gonna do the same. I'm just moving stuff out of the way to give myself a bit of a break so I don't confuse which is which here. So let's move that one over that way, 60. All right. And I just made them even so that way I can unhide all the things. Now I have currently 3 identical spoons that are 3 different components. So save there. Copies made. Great. All right. So I'll hide you. And for the moment, let's hide the strainer. All right, we're working on what will become the Spork. So from here, now we can work as we have been. Start a sketch right there on this plane. We're good. Okay, let's make a center point rectangle right at the point here. Draw that out. How wide should that be? Sure, 2 millimeters by 60. Sure, why not? Okay, let's round that over. Create circle, 2-point circle, boink, boink. Okay, I'm gonna trim that. There we are. Let's see here, sorry. Yep, you can make a knife, absolutely. I was just making different iterations of the same one. Just to make it easier on myself, but you can make whatever different utensils you want, just showing you how to make multiple iterations of the same one. Go nuts for whatever you like. All right. Escape, and then from there, I can either make multiples of the same sketch and extrude all of them, or finish sketch, extrude that one, as we have in the past. Make sure you get the end as well. And we'll drag that right down through. Hit OK. And then I can duplicate the features. Uh-oh. Looks like what I did is I started it a little bit too shallow. So let's go back to that extrude, edit feature, and let's make sure to make that 2-sided. So now the other one goes up a little bit. Okay. Made it easy. Cool. Let's round those features over. Let's see, about 1 is probably too much. So 0.5? No, 0.5. There we go. 0.5 is a little bit easier to deal with. Okay. And now we can use the pattern tool. Again, same deal. It was either going to be make multiple sketches of the pattern, make multiple features of the pattern. This way I don't have to make fillets for each one. Faces, yep. This might be a little more difficult, so let's see if we can grab features. We cannot. Okay, so it's faces. I have to grab a lot more of these then. All right. Well, since this is the case, it might even be a lot easier to actually select these with, or it might have been easier to just make multiples of the sketch and duplicate it that way. But we're here now, so select all the things within the feature here. Make sure you get them all. All right, there we go. Okay, got all of those. And now, how many do we want? Distance. Where's my slider? I don't know, 1. Oh, whoops, direction. Where are my direction tools? Across that axis. There we are. Making multiples, but no, we want those on either side. So make that symmetric. And let's bump that up to 6. And let's just draw that out however we think it might work best. Go to top so I can get a little more even view here. Why am I seeing that? Quantity 3, 3. Oh, that's strange. There we are. Oh, I was making a bunch of them up and down. Let's see. 5. There we are. And drag those down. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Recalculate. Let's see if this makes it a nightmare. There we go. Not a great fork, but you get the idea. And it looks like it did not duplicate my features over. So realistically, I should have done is duplicate that in the sketch and alter the sketch entirely. But that'll work. Save. We'll say Spork, and I guess that's more of a Spork. Spork done. Okay. Hide the Spork. Make a strainer. Activate the strainer. Why my body's hidden? It's not. I'm just in the wrong spot. From here, let's do sketch right to there, and we will make a center circle right smack in the center. Let's make that, ooh, I don't know, 3 millimeters. Sure, what the fudge. And then let's make another one somewhere out that way. 3 as well. Okay. Let's move that over a little bit. Sure. Make it a little bit closer. Okay. And then one more. Let's say right about there. Why not? Why not? 3 again. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Now let's make multiples within here. So circle pattern, I want to select that object around that center. And let's make a few of these. I don't know, 6. Oops, it grabbed just a point instead of the circle. That makes, pardon me, that makes more sense. Okay, 6. Do it again. And let's make sure to actually grab the circle this time. Around that center point. Let's make it an odd number. I don't know, 13. 13 seems reasonable. Okay. Super freaking duper. Finish sketch. You get where I'm going with this. Extrude. I can extrude the entire sketch. I guess not. It's going to make me select those all individually. Or let's see if I can grab these if they're floating up above. Not really, but easier to do if I just hide all of it. Now select all the sketches. Still didn't grab all of them. There. Jeez. It's going to keep altering it. There we go. Grab them all. Unhide the body. Now just drag straight through. Probably didn't need to go quite that far, but there we are. Hit OK. Instant strainer. And of course, you can add your features in, fillets, select all of those, go nanners for a little while. You get the idea. Cancel that for now. Okay, so that's how you can modify one object into multiples. So unhide these, my Spork, my original body, reactivate the whole project, F6. Let's go to visual style, just shaded, and let's add some appearances. Oh, let's make one out of glass because reasons. We'll make a glass, green glass strainer, and then a, let's not eat out of nickel. Stainless. Why not? Why not? Stainless steel in the center. And then let's have the most opulent of sporks, a golden spork. All right, there we go. Not great, but it's a start because I just want y'all to explore what you can do with the form edit tools and such, as well as mixing some of what we already know with the sketches and extrusions to manipulate these. You are very welcome to start from scratch with each one. You can mix and match these. You can make similar tools. You can make a full set of similarly handled tools. Go nuts. Main thing with this is to learn some of the form edit tools, or the form tools rather, some of the edit tools, how to repair some of these if you run into that. But otherwise, play around. You see where I'm going with this. Best of luck with it. And ultimately, hope you also enjoy it. Thank you.